With new releases from Anthropic, Lovable, and others, Vibecoding is getting an upgrade. Welcome back to the AI Daily Brief. Vibecoding is one of those terms that was extremely useful in drawing a hard line and differentiation from what came before, but which might ultimately have a fairly short shelf life. It's been just 14 months since the term was coined by Andrej Karpathy, and already many people have moved on from it entirely. One of the reasons it doesn't quite fit anymore is that the difference between vibe coding and, I don't know what you want to call it, artisanal by hand coding, have been increasingly obviated by the way that the coding platforms have evolved. In other words, there is increasingly nothing but vibe coding. Now, as we will see, mostly a process of multi-agent orchestration. The other even more fundamental reason, though, that the term is running into some challenge is less about the vibe and more about the coding. Does it make sense to even identify the activity as coding when coding is just the way that everyone builds everything? Now, I'm starting this conversation in the area of linguistics, but where it's showing up in practice is an extreme convergence in the actual product suites through which we interface with AI. A few days ago, we got the latest theoretical leak out of Anthropic, and it looked like it might be some sort of full-stack vibe coding app along the lines of Lovable. In addition to having a very simple starting interface, it also looked like it came with a set of pre-built instructions for common tasks, like scanning for security risks, exploring design directions, or implementing dark mode. Now, no one has confirmed this is real, but it didn't particularly surprise anyone, and Marmaduke91 Can on Twitter summed up most people's feelings when they wrote, "Anthropic are coming after everything." Now, when Anthony Morris from Anthropic teased that a new Claude Code desktop version would be coming out this week, Vibecode's Riley Brown wrote, "OpenAI and Anthropic are racing to get their version of Lovable out." Anthony responded, "My tweet has nothing to do with Lovable though," laugh crying emoji. And it turns out what Anthony was talking about was a more general Claude Code desktop update, which is what they released yesterday. Anthropic's Felix Riesberg wrote, "Today is a big day. We're launching a new version of Claude Code in the desktop app. It's been redesigned for the ground up for parallel work and is a lot faster." Now, in their announcement post, Anthropic emphasized that the redesign was focused on meeting developers where they are, which, as they acknowledge, is a completely different place from where they were 6 months ago. They write, "For many developers, the shape of agentic work has changed. You're not typing one prompt and waiting. You're kicking off a refactor in one repo, a bug fix in another, and a test writing pass in a third, checking on each as results come in, steering when something drifts, and reviewing diffs before you ship. The new app is built for how agentic coding actually feels now. Many things in flight and you in the orchestrator seat." And indeed, in a lot of ways, the concept that runs through this is shifting the interface for a world in which development is orchestrating multiple agents. This takes steps to make the Claude Code section of the Claude desktop app into an agent orchestration command center. Some of the features they point to include a new sidebar for managing multiple sessions at the same time, an integrated terminal and file editor, plus the ability to drag and drop to customize and arrange your workspace. It certainly seems like one of the big focuses is the ability to run multiple sessions at the same time. They write, "The new sidebar puts every active and recent session in one place. You can kick off work across multiple repos and move between them as results arrive. You can filter by status, project, or environment, or group the sidebar by project to find and resume sessions faster." The first reports from the Anthropic team suggest that they've been shifting behavior to this new interface. Claude Code co-creator Kat Wu writes, "Over the past few weeks, I've become a daily user of Claude Code on desktop. It's the best way to kick off and manage multiple CC sessions across local and cloud in one place." Developer Daniel San, who had early access, pointed to the ability to run agents simultaneously as one of the things that he likes most about the new version. He writes, "The interface is much more tailored to a dev-oriented design, smaller inputs and more focus on agent execution and development tools." Goyal pointed out, "I think it'll be great to have multiple sessions be able to share context for the same feature. I saw Cursor already start to do that, and I'm excited for all the labs to figure this out." And indeed, this is certainly one of the big takeaways. You might remember that at the beginning of the month, Cursor 3 gave developers the option to switch to a similar interface, and for some, the convergence is clear. Riley Brown again writes, "Cursor, Codex, and Claude Code desktop app look exactly the same now." Now, we'll have to see if that persists, because when Anthony Morris from Anthropic sent that tweet about the Claude Code new desktop version, Andrew Ambrosino, who is a member of technical staff working on Codex at OpenAI, replied, "Same," meaning I think that we can probably expect some, at least small, updates to Codex coming this week. Now, not everyone's first impression of the new Claude desktop app was perfect. Theo wrote that it froze on his first prompt, and I will admit it also completely imploded on a project that I was doing, where I had to go basically delete all the work that it had done and start fresh. Still, the biggest complaint, and something that you increasingly see around every post from Anthropic, continues to be about usage limits and throttling. Control-Alt-Dwayne wrote, "Run multiple Claude sessions in this economy with these highly restricted usage limits? It's nice in theory, but people can barely run one session with Opus 4.6 without chewing through usage, and they're saying you can run multiple? Did they increase usage limits? Graham VIP responded to the Claude announcement post and wrote, "Allow me to fix your post. You can now run multiple Claude sessions side by side for around 5 minutes before we lock you out and demand another $200 USD off you." I think unfortunately for Anthropic, this is the big new PR battle, at least internally, that they're going to have to deal with. Now, there was one other Claude Code update yesterday as well. Anthropic's Noah Zweben tweets, "Claude Code routines are here. In addition to a schedule, you can now trigger templated agents via GitHub event or API with our infrastructure and your MCP and repos. They've changed how we do docs, backlog maintenance, and more internally at Anthropic." So routines basically are the next extension of the scheduled tasks feature, which came a few weeks ago. Rather than triggering at a certain time or day, routines allow tasks to be triggered via GitHub event or API. In their docs, Anthropic wrote, "A routine is a saved Claude Code configuration, a prompt, one or more repositories, and a set of connectors, packaged once and run automatically. Routines execute on Anthropic managed cloud infrastructure, so they keep working when your laptop is closed." The register described routines as a dynamic cron job or a trigger-driven short-lived event. Now, when you sit back and think about this, this seems like a big unlock for a number of different use cases. Rather than requiring you to keep Claude running at all times, you can now offload complex and dynamic tasks onto Anthropic's architecture. Now, on the one hand, each of these individual updates is small on its own, but in net, you can see the path where they're going, where Claude Code is basically building out any possible variation of triggering an event to complete a task, with this addressing one of the big remaining limitations. Greg Eisenberg from the Startup Ideas Pod, as he is wont to do, immediately thought about how this could turn into new startup opportunities. He writes, "The model is the commodity, the trigger is the product, and whoever maps the most valuable real-world events to the most specific industry workflows is going to build something massive. Here's what I mean by trigger. A permit gets filed, a customer's usage drops 40% in a week, a competitor launches a feature. A deal sits in your pipeline untouched for 14 days. Some public, some inside your own tools, and every single one is a moment where an AI agent can step in and do something valuable before a human gets around to it. The playbook is like this. Map every trigger that matters in one industry, wire an AI agent to do each one, sell the outcome. The person who shows up first with exactly what someone needs at exactly the right moment wins the deal every time. And the people who go embarrassingly deep on one industry's trigger map are going to build generational companies." To Greg, it is one more indication of why this is, in his words, the greatest time to be starting a company. Now, while we didn't get Anthropic's full-throated Lovable vibe coding experience, we did get a bunch of updates from Lovable themselves. First of all, the company has launched a new desktop app, which allows users to access local MCPs, keep track of multiple projects, and use native keyboard shortcuts. Still, maybe the bigger update from Lovable came a couple of days ago and was the native introduction of payments. Users can describe what they want to sell and how they want the payments function to work in natural language, and the AI agent will do the rest. Linear COO Christina Cordova writes, "You know what you're not vibe coding? PCI Level 1, partnerships with several acquirers per country all over the world, global tax compliance, and the list goes on." The argument is basically that this is one of those key areas that just needs to be built in for people to unlock the full value of vibe coding platforms for business. Indeed, as Lovable CEO Antoine Osica writes, "It's never been easier to go from product to an actual business." In other parts of the market, we saw vibe-related updates in other parts of the market as well. A small one from Google. The company launched a new design preview in AI Studio's vibe coding experience. Logan Kilpatrick writes, "Now, while you wait for an app to be built, Gemini will create custom themes you can easily choose from in seconds." To me, looks like a bit of an integration with what you can do in their dedicated Stitch app, but brought into the Google AI Studio experience, which is kind of the pattern that we've been seeing with Google, where they're both developing key products and features in their own experiences, but then also working to integrate them more seamlessly. Google also announced a new feature called Skills in Chrome. It allows users to save and reuse AI prompts when using the Gemini Assistant in the Chrome browser. Users can choose from a skills library or build their own skills with Gemini's help. And while the name is the same, the feature is closer to a prompt library than the full skills file system implemented by Anthropic and OpenAI. Still, it is spiritually in the same domain, if focused on a slightly different audience. Google says the feature allows users to build one-click workflows for frequent tasks and gave the example of calculating nutrition stats for a recipe, comparison shopping, or summarizing documents. Now, interestingly, when it comes to some of these bigger themes of how the way that people interact with AI is changing, this came up in a recent interview with Google CEO Sundar Pichai, and it sounds like they're thinking about the implications not just for their AI tools, but for all of their core experiences. In that interview, Pichai said, "If I fast forward, a lot of what are just information-seeking queries will be agentic search. You'll be completing tasks, you'll have many threads running." When asked then if traditional search will still exist in 10 years, he said, "It keeps evolving. Search would be an agent manager." Over in Microsoft land, we continue to hear about how the company is looking to clawify Copilot. The Information reports that Microsoft is testing features inspired by OpenClaw, with a statement from corporate VP Omar Shaheen saying that a newly created team is, quote, exploring the potential of technologies like OpenClaw in an enterprise context. A number of folks picked this up a couple of weeks ago when Omar announced his new role, with Swix from Latent Space writing, "Wow, Microsoft just appointed a corporate VP whose entire job is OpenClaw." Now, of course, one of the big challenges for OpenClaw is the issues surrounding enterprise usage of it. As you've heard, we've been running the Enterprise Claw program, and part of that program is actually giving people general alternatives and helping them understand the security risks. But there are some big barriers there. Microsoft clearly sees an opportunity in this challenge, with sources suggesting that Microsoft are convinced that they can implement a safer version of the product by limiting permissions and siloing work within certain roles. I would actually anticipate the general vibe code hardening for the enterprise to be one of the biggest building opportunities of the rest of 2026. And clearly, I am not alone, with a new release from the company Superblocks getting a lot of chatter on X. Superblocks CEO Brad Menezes argued that vibe coding apps have quickly become an attack vector in the enterprise. Like shadow AI use in previous years, many companies are now seeing employees building apps on production data with very little or zero oversight from their IT team. Menezes noted that with Mythos approaching, cyber threats are also about to get a huge boost. He then frames their company's new Superblocks 2.0 platform as the, quote, only platform to take back control. And basically what this is a way to make employee vibe coding safe. Brad writes, business teams build AI-powered apps with permissions baked in, IT and security can audit everything and lock down anything instantly, engineering sets the standards, every app follows them. Now, it seems to me that most of the replies to this have the feel of undisclosed paid posts, but holding aside this specific example, it is very clear to me that enterprise hardening of vibe coding is going to be a huge trend for this year. Take all this together, and while there's no one massive change that happened, there is a very clear trajectory here. Not only are all the labs, both the agent labs and the model labs, racing to make all the improvements that make their agentic coding apps most useful 24/7, whether you're sitting there in front of them or not, you're also increasingly just seeing companies deal with the implications where all of knowledge work runs in some way through code. The products are converging because coding to build things that do your work or help you do your work is becoming one of the core primitives of knowledge work. It is super interesting to see how these things evolve. For now, you got a bunch of new toys to play with, and I'm excited to hear what you build. But that's going to do it for today's AI Daily Brief. Appreciate you listening or watching, as always, and until next time, peace